Kriya for disease resistance. So this Kriya is great for keeping digestion function up, for increasing elimination function, keeping detox function going. So today we're going to begin just by tuning in. And I've got some music here to assist me. We're going to tune in with Adi Mantra. So if you're new to Kundalini Yoga, that's a chant that we often do at the beginning of a Kundalini class. Ong Namo, Gurudev Namo. And it just means I bow to the divine teacher within, or the divine wisdom within. So we're going to do 3 rounds. And to get started, let's bring the palms together and lift the elbows so that the forearms become parallel with the earth. And just begin to rub the palms together, pressing the palms in towards one another, building a little heat. And then we pause, take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. We're going to do 3 rounds here. I could keep going with that, so relaxing. But let's take a big inhale. Suspend the breath, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel. Send the attention right to the third eye, the wisdom center. Exhale, release. Rest the palms on the thighs and sit for a moment and notice the effects of that tune in for you. And then if the eyes are closed, let's blink the eyes open. And we're going to keep chugging along right into our first exercise. So we're going to begin with stomach pumps. Now for this one, the Kriya calls for us to come to a kneeling position. And as we kneel, we actually want the heels to press into the sit bones. So we're going to try our best not to just let the feet spread in this position, but rather to keep them a little active, a little awareness there so that the heels are pressing into the sit bones. If this is uncomfortable, we've got a lot of options. So one of the things that you might do is take a blanket and maybe roll it or fold it and bring it right underneath the tops of the feet. So if you're feeling some discomfort there, you can pad yourself with the blanket. If it feels a little uncomfortable to go so deeply into the knee joint, you could bring the blanket right into the back of the knees and sit down to pad yourself. And although we do want to stimulate those meridian lines by pressing into the sit bones, if that's causing you pain or discomfort, you can bring the blanket right underneath the sit bones if that's better for you. And if the kneeling position is just not going to be your jam today, you could come into a cross-legged position. So you want to find a posture that works for you. And then we're going to take an inhale, circle the arms up, and bring the palms together. And what we're going to do is, as we inhale, we'll suspend the breath and pump the belly a little vigorously, a little quickly, as many times as we can before we need to exhale. And then after the exhale, you go right on into the next inhale. So it looks like this. And if you haven't already, you can join me. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. So I've got the time. Don't worry about that. Just big inhales. Suspend the breath as you pump the belly. And suspend the breath as long as you can before exhaling and starting the process over. But you don't want to go past any personal boundaries. So we do want to hold the breath as long as we can. We want to retain, keep that energy drawing in, but we don't want to cross any personal boundaries or take ourselves to a place that would be unsafe in any way. And it's okay to be a little aggressive with the belly pumps. In fact, that might be a good thing with this exercise. That's what we want to do. Notice how you're feeling. Find your own pace, your own rhythm. A rhythm that works for you. Arms stay up. Big inhales. Suspend the breath and keep pumping the belly. I like to send my attention right to that third chakra here. Right to the navel point. And you've got about 30 seconds left here. Keep going. This isn't the time to hold back. It's the time to give it all you've got. Belly may be feeling a little warm as we stoke these digestive fires. Wherever you are, exhale, keep the arms lifted. Together, let's take a big inhale. Suspend the breath, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel point. Send your awareness right to the third eye. Arms are up, but elbows are relaxing and down. Hold, hold, hold. When you can't hold anymore, exhale, release the breath. Release the pelvic floor, release the navel point, and relax the hands down on the thighs. Maybe close the eyes here as you take a few breaths and go deep within yourself. Notice what it is that you're feeling. All right, if the eyes are closed, let's blink them open. And we're going to go into bear grips. So this next exercise, this movement opens the heart and stimulates the thymus gland. So we're going to keep what we have with this kneeling posture. Check in though, if it's gotten uncomfortable and you need to pull in some props, please do. If you need to come into a cross-legged seated position because this is no longer working for you, take care of yourself by all means. Do what you need to do. And we're going to lift the right hand, and the right hand faces forward, elbow out. So lift your right hand. On the video, a lot of times, like my right is going to look like it's my left, but this is really my right. So lift your right hand, and then lift the left hand and bring it in front of the right. And then curl the fingers together, and we're going to pull. Elbows pointing out to the side. So we don't want any saggy elbows here. Keep the elbows lifted. The arms are strong. As you inhale, you're going to pull apart. Suspend the breath for as long as you can. And when you can no longer suspend the breath, you exhale, slight release, and go right back into it. So we're here for 2 minutes. If you haven't already, please do join me. And if it's helpful for you to know this, we're doing most of the exercises in this Kriya for 2 minutes. So it's kind of nice to know that rhythm up front, establish that rhythm, that pace, and sort of know what we're in for. Most of the exercises in this Kriya are 1 to 3 minutes. So we're going right in the middle for 2. And the idea is that the more we do it, the more we work our way up with our time. This one's a beginner-friendly Kriya. And this is active here. This is another one that's a little aggressive. So the biceps should be firing, the lats, the upper back muscles. We're feeling really strong. Inhale and pull, pull, pull. Suspend, suspend, suspend. Give it all you've got. Don't hold back on this one. And when you must, exhale. Back at it. Deep inhales. Suspend the breath and pull in this bear grip. All right, so you've got a little... Now you've got 30 seconds left. Sometimes I think more so than focusing on how much time we have left, it's good to just be with the present moment and just know that we're doing something amazing for ourselves. The science behind this Kriya tells us that when we're finished, we've boosted our immunity, keeping our digestive function, elimination function up. And wherever you are, exhale, slight release. Now take a big inhale and pull. Keep the elbows up, shoulders down, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel point. Maybe close the eyes and send your awareness right to the third eye. Suspend the breath as long as you possibly can. And when you can no longer suspend the breath, exhale, let it all go. Hands come into the thighs. Maybe close the eyes and take a moment to go deep within yourself here and just notice the effects of what you've done so far. Notice how you're feeling. Okie dokie, if the eyes are closed, let's blink them open. And we're going to go into sitting bends. Here, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. What we're doing is really simple. We're going to keep the length in the spine, keep what we have in this kneeling posture. And if you're in another posture, keep what you have. Take an inhale, exhale, bow forward. Inhale, we lift, exhale, we bow. And if the forehead doesn't come to the floor, it's okay. If you've got like a block or some blankets and you'd like to tap your forehead down onto that prop, feel free. Very simple motion. And if you haven't already, you can join me. So exhaling down, inhaling up. Exhale down, inhale up. Begin to move at your own pace, with your own breath. Keep the spine long. Keep the navel point engaged here. Helps to protect the low back. And imagine if you could that you're not going to round and slump through the shoulders. And you may notice it doesn't take long, and we're feeling that strengthening happening in the low back here. This bowing motion is a great way to really strengthen the low back. And any time that we're folding forward, we're really relaxing and having that moment to turn in. So as you bow forward, feel free to go deep within yourself. Exhaling down, inhaling up. I've got the time, so don't you worry about that. Just keep moving. These are called sitting bends. And we've got about 12 seconds left. Next time you rise, pause right there. Take a big inhale. Lift the pelvic floor. Lift the navel. Maybe close the eyes. Send your awareness right to the third eye. See if you can lift a little more. Suspend the breath. Exhale. Release everything. And take a few breaths right here. And if the eyes are closed, blink them open. So we're going to shift off of the heels, or maybe you're not on the heels. Maybe you're in a cross-legged seated position, and that is okay too. But what we're getting ready to do is we're going to extend the legs out in front of us, coming into front stretch. So for this one, the idea is that we're going to grab the big toes with the middle and index finger and the thumb. And we're going to squeeze right there. And the reason that we do that is because there are meridian points that connect us to the sixth chakra, the pituitary. But sometimes when we grab them, it might cause us to round a lot. So if it's causing you to round, you have some options. You can bend the knees in order to hook the big toes if that's really important to you today. Sometimes I like to prioritize keeping the spine long, and I just hold on to the shins or the ankles if I need to as I work my way down. And then I send a lot of my focus and awareness right to the third eye, since I'm not grabbing on here to stimulate the meridians. So it's up to you, whatever makes the most sense. And we're just going to relax into this shape. So connect the sit bones, move anything you've got to move to make that happen. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, if you're feeling compression folding forward, lift the belly in and up. And you can physically take the hands to pull the belly in and up. And this kind of helps if there's compression between the belly and the thighs, I've found. So move everything out of the way here so that you can really come into your forward fold. And from here, you may or may not grab the big toes. And there's nothing super magical about it. If you don't hook the big toes, that's okay. If you've got them, you're going to squeeze them. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, really fold in on yourself. So think of length. Think of lifting the spine up and out of the pelvis before we round forward. And here we're just doing long, slow, deep breaths. And just see if you might be able to challenge yourself to really relax into this posture. What's happening here is that when we're in this shape, it allows the glandular secretions from the previous exercises to circulate through the body, and that helps the body to relax very deeply. Maybe you close the eyes and really just kind of fold in on yourself. Let this posture do its thing to you. Surrender to whatever sensations and just relax a little bit. You can always come back to our default mantra, Sat Nam. Sat on the inhale, Nam on the out breath with the gaze at the third eye. And remember, you can always hold on to the shins or the ankles here if you're feeling that you're rounding too much. We're going to be here about 35 more seconds, so just enjoy it. Inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. And slowly we rise. Hands on thighs, take a big inhale here. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel point. Suspend the breath. And exhale, release. You can come into a cross-legged seated position. We're going to come into neck rolls. So if you'd like, you can grab a cushion, a bolster, some blankets, a pillow, whatever you need to be comfortable here. Sometimes just getting the hips a little higher than the knees can help us really open up and find some length in the spine. So I'm going to grab my bolster. So we're setting up for neck rolls here. Once you're in a comfortable seat, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. On an inhale, start to move the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then as you exhale, let the head reach back behind you. And then the left ear comes towards the left shoulder. And the chin comes back to the chest. Relax the shoulders. Create a little space through the neck. And know that in this space you're stimulating a lot of the higher glands here. The thyroid. Pineal glands, all working together. Move with the breath and just let the head be really heavy. Shoulders relaxing. Think about how slow you can go. And if it feels unsafe to you for your cervical spine for any reason, to take the head back behind you, you can always do kind of a half moon thing. Moving the ear to the shoulder and then tuck the chin down to the chest and the other ear comes to the other shoulder. But if it feels safe, you can drop the head back. And when you're ready, you can reverse those circles. This is such a nice, juicy treat. Right in the middle of this Kriya. What could be better than neck rolls? About 20 seconds left. Wherever you are, bring the head to a neutral spot. Sit up nice and tall. Option to close the eyes. Take a big inhale. Suspend the breath. Lift the pelvic floor. Lift the navel. Send your awareness right between the eyes. And exhale, release. Take a moment here to notice these effects. Maybe close the eyes as you breathe normally for a moment. And if the eyes are closed, blink them open. We're going to take any props that we're using and shift them to the side. We have another juicy treat. We're coming into cat-cows. So you'll come onto all fours, hands and knees. And you want to stack the hips right over the knees, and you want to bring the shoulders right over the wrists. And we're going to start with a neutral spine. And then on an inhale, you're going to drop the belly, arch the back, turn the gaze up. As you exhale, it's almost like you could press the floor away. Begin to round the back, round the shoulders, tuck the chin to the chest, draw the navel in and up. Inhale, glide into your arch, lift the tail, lift the gaze. Exhale, dome the back, chin to chest. Lift the belly. And keep moving with these at your own pace, with your own breath, in a way that is fluid. And I like to tap into that Sat Nam mantra here. Inhale, Sat. Exhale, Nam. Inhale, Sat. Exhale, Nam. And we're moving at our own pace with our own breath. Your pace may be very different from mine, and that's okay. Don't feel like you have to watch me and be on my count. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Just follow along with my voice, making choices that feel right for your body as you move through these exercises. About 30 seconds to go. And as I time this out, it's interesting because I don't start the 2 minutes when I'm initially demonstrating. I start the 2 minutes when I think you've joined me, but you may have joined me before I start the count. So for some of these, some of you may have been going longer than 2 minutes. And we come to a neutral spine. Sit back on the heels. Take a big inhale. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel. Attention right to the third eye. And release it all. Okay, so we're going to come to a cross-legged seated position again. If you need to get your props, now is the time. I'm going to grab my bolster again. I like this big guy. Keeps my hips up so that I can really get some length in the spine. Alrighty. So, we're coming into alternate shoulder shrugs here. So the way that looks, on inhale, you lift the left shoulder and the right shoulder is down. Exhale, right shoulder up, left shoulder down. And we're moving with the breath. And the breath is a little forceful here. And a lot of times I like to pull in Sat Nam. So it's Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. So the shoulders are alternating, but the head and everything else is as still as it can be. So if you haven't joined me yet, please join me. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Should look something like this. And this is actually supposed to relieve shoulder tension. So when we're hot and heavy in the middle of it, kind of feels like maybe we're building shoulder tension a lot of the times. But then when you're finished, you realize like, oh yeah, that did relieve the tension I had in my shoulders. It's the after effect. Sat Nam, inhale, exhale. The breath be a little forceful, a little vigorous. And you've got about 15 seconds to go here. And relax. Take an inhale here. Close the eyes, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel. Suspend the breath. Exhale. Let it all go. Keep the eyes closed for a second and notice how you're feeling. And the eyes blink open. Got a nice surprise. We have a mid-Kriya Shavasana. So we're going to move anything we're sitting on out of the way, and we're going to come to lie flat on the back. And we're actually here for 6 minutes. So I've got the time. Come to lie on the back. Maybe the palms flip up to the sky. Make any adjustments you need to. You need to roll the shoulder blades under and settle in. Whatever you need to do. If it's cold where you are, feel free to put on some fuzzy socks. Cover up with a blanket. It's hard to relax when you're cold. So give yourself whatever you need here. And then let the body get really heavy. Almost like you could melt down into the earth beneath you and become part of it. If you need a mantra here, maybe it's let go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Start to awaken the body. Maybe squeeze the fingers, squeeze the toes, and hug one knee into the chest at a time. And as you're ready, press your way up to a seated position. And from here, we're going to rock forward into tabletop. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips up, coming into triangle pose. In some traditions of yoga, known as downward facing dog. So the fingers are spread wide. Feet are about hips distance apart. And we're going to be here for a while. So maybe start to get comfortable and pedal out your feet a little bit if that feels good. And then put a deep bend in the knees. Press the floor away. See how long the spine can get as you slowly start to lower the heels down. Engage the belly. Lift the belly here. And let the breaths go where they need to go. Draw the breath in and send it anywhere that feels tight, anywhere that you find yourself gripping. And if you can sit in stillness, feel free to sit in stillness. If you need to rock a little and move a little within this shape to make it sustainable, feel free to. If the shoulders feel tight, you can bring the hands a little wide and point the fingers, like the middle finger, towards the corners of the mat to make some space for the shoulders. If that's not necessary for you, not anything to worry about. Keep the hands where they are. And if you feel like you've got to come down for a moment, feel free to drop down on the knees and come back into it. It's a nice place to play with sensation in the body. Maybe you press through the big toe mounds a little bit and notice what that feels like in the legs. It may activate through the center line. Keep breathing through this. It's an intense moment in the Kriya for sure. I feel like it prepares us for what's ahead. Notice if you're starting to slump, and remember that this is a place of strength, a place where we're able to really strengthen the body. So we want to stay active, stay engaged, keep pressing the floor away, keep lifting the hips back. It's okay to put a little bend in the knee here. You're over halfway through. The Kriya calls for 5 minutes in triangle pose. And remember that you use the breath as a tool to give the body what it needs. Send the breath wherever you need. And keep the shoulders moving away from each other on the back. The lats are active. We don't want the shoulders creeping up towards the ears. Shoulders are not earrings today. Got right at 30 seconds left. You can do anything for 30 seconds. How are you feeling? Know that you're doing great and you're doing amazing things for your body. Take a moment and just thank yourself for showing up in your practice today. And now drop down on the knees. Take a moment here to give yourself whatever you need. Maybe roll the wrists out here. Give yourself a heart opener, a little hip stretch, whatever you need. As we prepare for elephant walk. So elephant walk, I'm going to demonstrate it before you join me. So what you'll do, from a standing position, you're going to bend down and you're going to grab onto the ankles and keep the knees straight. So if reaching the ankles causes you to bend the knees, then bring the hands up a little higher. And with the hands on the ankles, you're just going to begin to walk, just like this. So we're going to do this for 2 minutes. I've got the time. You can join me at any minute. And know that this is like one of those postures where you really have to trust the science in Kundalini. Trust the practice. So if you have some space, maybe you're walking all over your space. Maybe you're just kind of waddling up and down your mat like me. Elephant walk aids in elimination. One of the reasons we do it. Notice what's happening with the head and the neck here. You don't want to hold any tension. So release the head. Elephant walk. Also adjust the magnetic field to prepare you for meditation. And if you've wandered pretty far from your mat, start to make your way back to the mat. Elephant walk is said to adjust the lower 3 chakras of the body. It feels really awkward, but once you finish, you often feel that something has subtly shifted. So come to your mat. Take a big inhale, find stillness, exhale, release. And we're going to come into a comfortable seated position. Cross the legs, hands on thighs, close the eyes, take an inhale, lift the pelvic floor, lift the navel point, send your attention to the third eye. Suspend the breath. Exhale, release. Let it all go. Take a moment here to notice the effects of what you've just done. Any subtle shifts. The palms come together at the heart. Sternum lifts to meet the thumbs. Let's rub the hands. Big inhale in. Exhale, release. We're going to finish with a longer sat and a shorter nam. Take an inhale. Sat nam. Thank you for joining me for this Kriya for disease resistance.